Allison came over to my house and she was like, what is that smell? And I was like, oh, my roommate cooked something. She's like, no, it doesn't smell like it smells like gas. Well, we went downstairs and sure enough, the stove was slightly turned on and had been slowly leaking gas for probably about 8 hours. So
that's a long time.
It is. So we almost blew ourselves up.
Yikes.
You're listening to The Janchi Show, hosted by 3 Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean, American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Hello, and welcome to The Janchi Show. It's your boys, KJ, Nathan, and Patrick. I'm the tall one.
Patrick. I'm the skinny one.
Wow.
I'm the tall one.
They can't see. They can't tell. Maybe I was squatting.
We are
in the
recording
photo.
video, so maybe they will see it at one point.
No, it's the winter
Well, we're
time.
all sitting down. It's fine.
That's my defense. I'm getting ready to hibernate.
To hibernate? Allison hates it when I hibernate. Does it do with 3 kids? That's funny. Patrick, why do we call ourselves the Janchi Show? What are we doing here?
We call ourselves the Janchi Show because Janchi in Korean means to feast or to celebrate or to banquet, we have recently discovered. And on this show, we like to celebrate our shared experiences and identities as Korean American adoptees. And we celebrate that by feasting at the end of the show on snacks, generally from the Korean peninsula, sometimes from other places. And we sometimes have guests on to celebrate their identities and their experiences and to hear their stories. And sometimes we just sit by ourselves and celebrate ourselves, I guess. So that's what we're doing here today.
Celebrate life.
Yeah, you know what demographic hasn't been celebrated enough? Straight men.
Straight
men need some love.
Not at all.
That was the reason we started the show, was because there wasn't enough straight male voices in podcasting.
I will say I really have to work to not say straight white man, but like sometimes I'm like, man, how am I really close to that? But then I'm like, well, no. But it's like I just fall into that trap sometimes, you know.
I feel you.
Yeah.
It's like it feels like when you say straight man or straight male, like white just fits right into it.
Yeah,
it feels like it
ready.
just goes with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel.
But we've had a very diverse group of interviews on here, I think. So that's been great. I mean, our first, I don't know how many were female, and we recently had an email come in that asked, how much of the queer community have we interviewed, and I listed a bunch. Actually, I'd forgotten and hadn't counted in a while. Actually,
I like that you were like a bunch. I'm like in my head, I was like a handful.
I was going to say a handful as well.
Yeah,
it was like 7.
All right.
But no, I mean, we are open to all parties.
Yeah,
had some Chinese adoptees,
except for the bad ones. We're not open to the bad parties.
True.
What's a bad party?
I don't know, like a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I agree with that.
Like an anti-Semite, probably.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
There's a lot of bad parties. Just straight up racists.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
it's good. It's a good thing.
And that's the show.
Yeah. We are
dramatic
anti-racists and anti-Nazis. Mm-hmm. Some hot takes.
Coming in hot.
Not hilariously, maybe this is sad, but my buddy who he came and lived with my parents for a year while he was studying abroad. He's from Germany, so he came back and visited, and he was like, my mom, I think, was saying like, oh yeah, Johannes was saying that there's Nazis, like Nazis are coming back in Germany. I was like, they're coming back in America. So
I would even venture to say that they never left.
Yeah, exactly. I think they were just hiding.
The rise. The re-rise?
The re-rise of
I don't think that's a
vocal.
That's a word.
I don't know. Yeah, visibility. It's sad. Very sad. Ugh.
Yeah.
And I feel like social media has some parts to play with that because it shows more, of other, I mean, in a positive and negative way. You're like, for people who are searching for community, the good community, they find it, but also the bad communities are finding the bad communities on social media. So it's like,
yeah, all those
double-edged sword, right?
All those neo-Nazis are like, what's up with all these bad communities out there?
Well, I think that's probably a conversation about moderating your platforms and this and that. But
yeah, but I'm not here for that.
What we're here.
I don't. Yeah, we don't moderate our platforms.
That's a whole other podcast.
We are not experts on moderating platforms of social media because
we barely do social media.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know.
As a show, personally,
as a show, we definitely we are scratching the bare minimum surfae of social media.
We're reaching up to touch rock bottom. So
yeah, I don't even know if we're touching the bottom. We are there.
I don't think we're there,
and that's it.
Yep,
we're trying.
Yeah,
we're on Facebook still. So,
I just recently posted on LinkedIn.
So, you did for the show or for you?
For the show. Didn't know if you could do that. So.
Anyways, this episode is out right now. We are in the throes of November, which is National Adoption or Adoptee Awareness Month. I don't really think that we talked about it on our last solo episode, which I believe came out a week before this one, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably did.
So I figured that we could maybe talk a little bit about that this week. I feel like almost, I don't know why I feel like it's almost obligatory for us to talk about it because we are adoptee focused. But then again, when I thought that and I brought it up in our little text message group earlier, I was like, but we really don't have to talk about it if we don't want to. If there are other things we could talk about, there are other things we could talk about.
Yeah, you'd believe that like maybe this is the 1 month that we could like take a break.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Be like, there's probably maybe someone else is thinking about us for the 1 month that they ever think about us out of the year. You know?
Well, I think about that. I've been thinking about that when it comes to just like heritage months in general. Like it shouldn't it be on the communities that are outside of those communities being celebrated and honored and thought about during those months to like be doing the education, be doing the amplification. I realize we should be centering those voices during those months. And it's like, can I get a little nap over here? Can I take a little break? I think that's okay.
Yeah, but I also find it nice because it's, again, supposedly it's supposed to be raising awareness for the people who may not have looked at one point. I mean, there's a lot of people who might use it as a chance to look for things that they are wanting to find or things like that. And so it's kind of like promotes that, and it kind of pushes them to do that. Not for the people who have already found some sort of community or some things that they've been looking for, but I think of it as the ones who just are kind of like, the light bulb moment, kind of like we were 3 years ago. So.
Yeah, I feel like we all were kind of first discovering that this was a month at the beginning of this show, which was really the beginning of, were we even celebrating it in the first year of the show? Because we did the Thanksgiving show where we had all the people on. I don't even think we were talking about it then.
We might have been. I don't know.
Maybe, but it's been around since 95. So it's not like it's new. It's just, like I said, people are becoming more aware of it. So which I think is great. Well,
I think it was a week in the 80s, and then it became a month in the 90s.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, and then I think in the middle, in like the teens, the 20 teens, it was when World Adoption Day became a thing. And now I feel like we are part of this group of adoptees providing counter narratives to what like a World Adoption Day is, which is like draw a smiley face on your hand. And we're like super happy about what adoption is. And while I'm not saying that it's invalid to be happy and celebrate certain things, I also think that that's what we always talk about when it comes to adoption. So it's like we can amplify and elevate the stories that maybe don't always get heard during this time, which is really generally what we do on the show. So,
sure.
Yeah. And if they happen to find this show during this month, we now officially, as of this recording, will have 150 episodes cataloged for them to listen to.
Oh, this is episode 150?
This is 150.
Hey! I labeled this episode 149.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't want to correct you yet.
Oh, okay. Well, we should be talking about that. 150. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost 3 years. Like official, like in podcast years. We've had like 150. We've had 155 episodes come out to date.
Yeah.
But like
some extra bonuses.
Yeah.
150 episodes. Like for sure numbered episodes. That's a lot. I feel like.
Yeah. All
Do
right.
you feel like
we've done it.
Do you ever feel like so here's a weird thing. Reflecting on the Thanksgiving episode, I realized that in the world of podcasting, when people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to start a podcast," especially 2020, people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to start a podcast. It's going to be so great, whatever." And then they're like, "Oh my god, there's a lot of work." So they only get to like maybe episode 5, and it takes them like 6 months to put them out.
Mm-hmm.
When we were putting out shows weekly in the beginning, and we hit episode 7, and it was Thanksgiving, and Jerry was like, "Let's do like a big party episode." I was like,
that was our
cool.
7th episode.
Yeah, I think so. And then like 2 weeks later, it felt like, it wasn't actually, but like 2 weeks later, it was like, "Oh, it's the end of the year. Let's do a reflections episode." And be like, "Bro, we just started." And then jump ahead to year 1. We're in LA. It's a reflections episode. Jump ahead year 2, Dallas reflections episode. Here we are, year 3. We went back to LA. Welcome to our official reflections episode, but it's not a clip show. Yeah, I don't know. Like I was thinking about this, and then I think tied in with like the adoptee and adoption awareness month. Like I remember in LA, someone was like, "Does it ever make you really angry that adoptee is always autocorrected because it's not a real word?" And I was like, "No, I use a third-party keyboard." But like thinking about that, how does that sit with you? Does it like mess with you at all? Or are you just like, meh, whatever?
Wait, the act of the autocorrect?
No, I think just like the like, yeah, I mean, I guess, but like having adoptee and adoption and like working with both mental models in your head of like an adoptee versus like adoption just being like a thing.
Well, I mean, I guess I talk about it pretty vocally, I suppose. And I mean, we're recording this episode on October 30th, which is Adoptee Remembrance Day. And I wrote a little just piece about it. But like adoptee for me and how I defined it is like the identity piece of it that I like identify as adoptee. Adoption is the act or the process of like what happened to me, what happens to a child or a person that goes through that process. And so, I mean, I think for a while, I guess, probably when we started doing this, I was probably wrestling with what those two things meant. But I think as we've moved through the show, and this is like something that we talked about at Beta LA, when we talked about evolution, like that's how language has evolved for me, is like being able to define the two. And really delineate between like what is adoption, specifically like the language of being adopted, being passive, and like being something that happened to me, and then identifying as an adoptee, like I'm an adoptee, being like active language of like this is who I am, and like claiming that for myself. I think now it's an easy thing for me to do, and that's how I explain it. I think what's difficult is that the general society does not see adoptee as identity. So they conflate the two, or they don't even see adoptee as a thing. Like they don't realize, like it autocorrects to adoption essentially in their minds. And so we then have to do the extra legwork of explaining the difference. And another thing that I just thought of is that I've had other adoptees reach out to me and say they actually don't identify as like an adoptee because they are so like either traumatized or just so against like having been adopted in the first place. Like that's not something that they really resonate or want to be, which I think is totally fine too. And I would never like put that on somebody. So I think there's that extra layer of it as well.
Yeah. I definitely think that there's multiple layers and stuff. And so the adoptee, adoption, whichever way you want to celebrate or identify the words, I think is completely up to the individuals. I mean, for us, we are adoptees. And so, and that's what we're identifying as. But others who are not adoptees are the adopters, might use the word adoption because that's all they know. I mean, they can still be open to adoptee stories and adoptee experiences and things like that. And I think that's what's important, is knowing all the sides, the adoption side, the adoptee side, and even I don't even know what the word for that is, but the biological family side of it as well. I mean, this is right, like the triangle, right? So
like all aspects of the constellation. Yeah.
The constellation. So I think all of that is important. So just because it doesn't bother me that it's being autocorrected or so forth on a digital device or anything, but for me, I always try to focus on how I'm relating the what my point is, I guess, on the topic. So if I'm talking about adoption versus if I'm talking about an adoptee or me as an adoptee.
Yeah. I don't know. there was something about it that was like, I think I'm just tired.
Yes.
I was just like,
Yeah.
man, it's like a lot of work to reclaim language, and it's just a lot. And so I think there's a world where I'm like, yeah, adoptee, that's cool. And then other times I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. That's a lot. It was interesting, Patrick, you bringing up, and I'm glad that you did bring up the point that people who have been adopted don't identify as adoptees because of all of the trauma or negative experiences or any number of reasons that cause them not to identify that way. And it reminds me of a conversation I had with Stephanie Drenka, former guest and friend of the show, about because when disclosure, we were hanging out at our adoptee harvest festival. The official title of that party was Harvest Hoedown, but it's Asian. But so we were hanging out, and Jennifer and I remember when we first got connected, and she was like, "Oh yeah, Stephanie lives in here." One of the early things she said was yeah, she doesn't really seem to be in that adoptee space. And flash forward to this party, and she and I talked about it, and she was like, yeah, for me, it's I've moved through it. Or I think maybe the language that she used is it's given me all that it can. And now I'm moving beyond, which I think is an interesting way of thinking about the adoptee identity, and something that I have heard a number of times as a critique of the adoptee community at large, is that it's it can feel like just being quagmired in a specific moment in time or a specific worldview or that kind of thing. And I think what was interesting was viewing it less as well, this is what the community is, and more as this is certainly a part of it. But is there a world where you're allowed to move through? It's just a way station as you become who you are. And I think it's an important thing, because there is, I think the thing that really defines our community is that there has been some type of conscious turn or shift into how we think of ourselves. But the community and especially adoptee spaces, could they just be a way station? Could even the idea of identifying as an adoptee be a way station for a time, in a way that maybe other parts of your identity are not necessarily?
Well, I think it speaks to a couple things, and it makes me think of two things. I think one is just that there is no one experience to how you identify and navigate this community and navigate even your own identity piece of it, I suppose. And the other thing that I think of when I hear something like that is that, so I guess I wrote about it a little bit in this post today, is that I see it as an identity because for me, and I guess I just want to speak plainly as speaking for myself, but it feels like there is this push, especially from the outside and sometimes from the inside of the community, to that other aspects of my identity, like my Asianness or my specifically Koreanness or my gender or something else, takes more precedence or is more important than my identity as an adoptee. And I think that personally, I feel like I have an issue with that because I think it invalidates part of who I am because I do identify as an adoptee. And I think thinking about more broadly as a community, and I guess now I'm not speaking for the community, but speaking about the community, I feel like that is a barrier for us to achieve like being taken seriously when it comes to like citizenship rights or access to records at a state level for domestic adoptees specifically, because we are not seen as because the adoptee portion of our identity is not seen as important, and because it's not seen as intersecting with other things, or it's seen as less than. And so because it is less than, like, we're not going to focus or put any energy or effort or investment towards securing citizenship, securing whatever other right that we're fighting for, because it's like, we don't validate that in you. Like, you were adopted. That's the end of it. And so, like, that's how I see it. And I totally can see where other people would be coming from is like, I like the language of way station, like a move, like it can feel like a move between. And I think at the end of the day, like if you get to a certain point with it and you're like, I'm good here, like I'm going to go do other stuff and focus on other aspects of who I am, I think that's totally fine. And I would never tell anybody, don't do that. I just feel like for me, I would like to see, and I don't really think that even people who move beyond the way station would not like want to advocate or fight for those certain rights as well. I would just not want to like invalidate that identity, even at the individual level, but especially from like a community sense, as we try to achieve certain things at a collective level. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, totally. And I mean, I'm not saying we weren't trying to be like,
no,
oh, yeah.
I didn't think so. I was just like, and that's why I was like,
you're
trying to like,
idiot for identifying it.
No, that's why I was trying to like, okay, I want to make sure that what I'm saying is making sense here.
I think it's like I mean, I do like the idea of a way station, but maybe an airport or something is like kind of better for this part of the idea. Is like there's a world where you visit a city and you get the hoodie that says the city's name on it, and you're like,
oh, okay,
yeah, cute, okay, whatever,
sure.
You know, and then like maybe you go to the city and you live there, and then you get another sweatshirt that has the city name on it. And you're like, no, yeah, I'm like really proud, whatever. And then you leave the place and that hoodie that you bought, which when you are really proud, takes on a new level of meaning. But like you don't hang out there anymore.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I think that that's the idea, like, especially for like, and I can speak confidently for Stephanie, but like, I think there is that idea of like, she spent time in the space,
right?
And it like, for whatever, you know, like it gave her what she needed or what she felt that she needed, you know, whatever. And I think that she's moved on with that hoodie that's like, no, this was my home, and this is still a place that I can go back to and feel comfortable in. It's just not where I hang my hat right now. It doesn't eat my mental capacity in the same kind of way, you know. I don't know. It was an interesting thing, and it's not, I don't think that point of view is one that I hear a lot, because we as a show and we as the three hosts came up in a time when so many other adoptees were like just kind of thinking through this identity that like it felt like for a while everyone was like, wow, adoptee identity. And then maybe we're like, oh, this is tragic, adoptee identity. But like, you know, I think that there are so many people in that early stage discovery. And I mean, we've had guests, you know, peppered throughout. We've had in-person interactions with people peppered throughout who are in more mature spaces as like with the adoptee community, with the Korean adoptee community, with just themselves as identifying as an adoptee. But it was just interesting to kind of think through that and articulate that, you know?
Yeah. I feel like I've come across that more too with folks that I interact with who like were doing this work prior to the pandemic. And I'm just like, and then it really makes me
wave 2 or wave 3 of like,
and have
wave
to like
1
check
of Korean
myself
adoptees.
about like, I've only been doing this for 3 years and I've been like stuck, or maybe not stuck, but I've just been in this particular mode for the whole time that I've been part of it, you know? And at some point I probably will not hang my head up here, but be like, okay, I'm moving in a different direction. And there are certain days even now where I feel like, okay, I'm like over here now. And I think we've had discussions about it even recently where it's just like, okay, I'm over in this lane that isn't necessarily always adoptee focused, you know, but it doesn't mean it makes me any less of whatever. It's just like, okay, I've done that thing and now I'm over here.
Yeah, and we've always talked on the show about capacity too, and I think that is something that, you know, especially during this month, that people should, you know, remember as well, that we, you know, we're doing stuff at whatever our personal capacities are at, and it's not, there's no right or wrong way of doing it, or posting every day, or doing this, you know, advocacy work, or speaking, or doing, you know, extra live events or things like that. We do what we can do, and I think that's important for everybody, not just podcasters or speakers or people. You know, who are working in the space, but I find myself moving along in different areas as well, just like you guys were. You know, I'm working on one project, and I'm forgetting about all the other things that I was maybe exploring at one point. You know, like I didn't even really want to submit a proposal for a con next year to actually be a speaker. Just because I'm a co-chair and I'm already doing so much. And so again, it was
like you're running the thing.
Yeah. So, you know, but it's a different space for me now. And it's just how the direction that I've moved recently. So.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, no, I don't have a thought. Never mind.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm definitely not be posting every day this month. I'll post maybe like 5 times this month. I don't even know. I don't have any post plan. I have a ton of other stuff that I'm doing.
Oh, you know what? I will say, if you stumble across a show, or you've been a long time listener, I will say, I saw recently another adoptee podcast posted like they were able to hire an editor. The editor's going rate was like $100 an episode or something like that. $100 an hour, maybe. I don't know. I mean, like that's like the rate that I would charge, you know, for editing the episode. And I think that like it's a lot of work to do these things. And especially this month, go and support adoptee creators. And I think that is like, there's so much incredible content that is being put out there for free because people love it and they're passionate about it, or maybe they don't love it, maybe they hate it and they're passionate about it. But there's just a lot of creators out there who are doing excellent work, and if there is a way to support them, I mean, it can be anything from like a Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, other type of membership subscription, to just like say like, hey, can I buy you a gift card to your favorite place? And support them that way. That I think that this month is a great time for that, because I mean we say support the show, but I think like we as a community generally don't ask for money, but there are a lot of great organizations and a lot of creators and people that need support, and I think that's really important to highlight now. Yeah, just putting it out there.
And if you don't have the means, feel free to just, you know, shout out to them. You know, there's a lot of books, a lot of authors, a lot of studies, a lot of, you know, like you said, people doing the work. So share the knowledge of what you know and who you know. So.
Yeah, that's true. Amplifying other voices is good. Also just being like, hey, I see you. Thanks. Like personal messages are really nice, because I mean, I don't know. I mean, we get some messages, but also like, other creators, maybe they only get negative messages. Maybe they're just putting stuff out there and they're like, I don't know if it's any good, but I get some interaction on my posts sometimes, so maybe it's okay, you know, that kind of stuff. So just be a good human. Remember that behind the accounts, there are real human beings who like to be interacted with, maybe.
As one of those creators, I will say it is nice to get the affirmative messages and comments. It perks my day up.
Yeah.
Patrick, you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Patrick, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to listen to some of your episodes this month.
Yeah, on your
You
other
don't have
podcast.
to. Oh, actually, this month I have some good episodes.
No, I'm not going to listen to this month's episodes. I'm going to listen
to this one.
To some of your episodes this month.
Oh,
So I'm
thanks.
going to be a good friend and fellow supporter of another adoptee creator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like really bad at promoting myself because I tell people that they don't have to listen to the show when that's the one thing I want them to do.
Reverse psychology.
That's what I mean, though.
I
think like you're just like adoptees for any number of reasons. Maybe it's just that all the creators are actually introverts and they're really bad at, I don't want to chalk it up to like, oh yeah, it's just all adoptees. Adoptees writ large suck at promoting themselves. But I mean, like, it's important. So just go and support your favorite creators who are adoptees.
Yeah. Any specific creators that y'all are vibing with or supporting at the moment that you want to highlight while we're on the topic?
The one that I see most often is Nikki Often. No repetition intended. She's just out there doing her thing in Korea, but like, man, her drawings I'm just like every time, even I don't like, it doesn't even matter what the content is. Literally just that you took the time to make a picture and put it up there and like do that thoughtfully. Like, it just like is always so impressive to me. So that's really like, that's one that I see a lot. Also our former friend and guest and friend of the show, Jenna, previously honorable mayor Jenna, still honorable, not so much the mayor. She's doing a lot more content stuff, and I think that's really fantastic. She's in Korea, but yeah, there's she's doing that. There are, let's see, Kira Omens is doing a lot of good stuff.
I was literally just about to say her.
Cosette Eisenhower has a cute little adoptee thing, but I don't remember what it's called. Sorry, Cosette.
I think that one's Navigating Adoption.
Yeah.
Is that hers?
I think so. Yeah, I was like, it just came up recently with another person I was speaking with. But yeah, those are some creators to go check out. Also support us, please.
Well, I've been seeing a lot. Of course, everyone knows I'm a big supporter of Khan, and I really feel that they're doing a lot of work in the space. That's okay. You don't have to mention it. I was going to mention it, so it's okay. But I know Khan definitely would very much appreciate any funding, because we are going to be putting a lot of programs together next year, and we really love the community and the fact that it's an adoptee run organization. I mean, there's already been so much love for it and so much, I think, growth within the community and within the organization. It's great to see from the inside, that like I have been doing. And just for that conference, just for the people who may not know, that conference will be June 21st through the 24th next year in Chicago. Also, Adoption Mosaic is doing a lot of good things. And I know this is kind of a shameless self-promotion too, but I will be appearing on the Adoptee Speaker Series that they'll be having November 11th. So,
nice.
Look at you.
It's about adoptee podcast hosts and, why we do what we do. So if you're interested in that program, that'll be, again, Saturday, November 11th. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Who else is on that panel with you?
I have not been told the full panel yet. I think
you don't know the full panel?
They are still finalizing that. So, yes, it is a secret panel. I do not know what other talented individuals I'll be discussing and talking with. So I'm excited to find out. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
November 11th.
I mean, honestly, it could have been you guys. I didn't even know if you guys were going to be on it.
I am not on that panel.
Yeah, we were not.
I will try and make
it privilege.
Sorry,
to be on your secret panel, which makes me think of an Avatar song. Just secret panel on the podcast. Secret panel. Yeah. It's for all my Avatar heads out there.
What about you, Patrick?
Who am I? Who do I want to highlight?
You have a very long list, I know, but
well, I guess I'll shout out Recency Bias, Grace Foster. I like what she's doing with the Inclusion Initiative. We talk about like investing in creators and folks in our community trying to do stuff, getting paid for that work. I really like what she's doing there, so want to give her a shout out. I do like what Jenna is doing in Korea. I like that not only from a content creation perspective, but just from a storytelling perspective. I feel like she's going through, like an evolving an evolving situation with her story, and I really appreciate, each time that she shares a little bit with us. So I think that's really awesome of her to do. And also, sidebar, but I feel like this headshot that she's sharing, like she was just on Adapted, and this photo with her hair down, I feel like I don't even recognize her. I'm like, I didn't even recognize her at first. I was like, what? Okay,
Not
but
that
anyways,
we knew her back then, but it all comes.
Yeah, Kira's doing a lot of really great stuff. Shout out to Katie Gagel, who started a new account, So Young Wellness. It's documenting her wellness journey, which is cool. I work on her and Laura Summers' podcast, Adopting Wellness. They've been putting out some really cool content and some really good episodes and conversations.
Your boy Rick Allen. He's got his CAD resource hub. Yep. I think that's an amazing website with so many different resources. Specifically, this is a great time to plug it during National Adoptee Awareness Month, because
he's our boy.
Yeah, he's our boy. He's our dude for sure. Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Rick. And then I guess since you plugged yourself, I'm going to plug myself a little bit. For conversation piece, I am going to be highlighting 4 Asian adoptees in Indiana. One of them being Lauren Reese, former guest of the show. Super excited about those episodes. So if you, for some reason, feel like you have the time to listen to my other podcasts,
I've committed to it. I don't know if it'll be those episodes, but I've committed to it.
For sure. Yeah, but excited to see kind of what everybody's doing this month and all year round, I suppose. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening. That leads me to kind of this final topic for here before we jump into food. Is I was thinking about what we were doing last year, and one of the things that I really loved was, like, last year Nathan was like writing. You like wrote a bunch for I feel like for the first time. Wasn't that last year?
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to ask.
2 years.
Was that 2 years ago? What were we doing last year?
So. Actually, I did something last year too, but it wasn't every day.
Was that the prompts?
So 2 years ago was the prompts, and then I think last year was
Choi?
less. Yeah, last year was less, but
okay.
Still, yes, I did do some writing.
I think I was writing some last year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was going to be the thing that I was just going to lead us into whatever food before we started, was just what are you like doing this month, if anything? Are you even planning on doing anything this month? Like we talked about, we write once, we write no times, we write 5 times, whatever it might be. Is there anything on your plate for November?
I forgot about a hilarious bit that I had planned.
Wait, for the show?
No, for myself as an adoptee thing that you just reminded me of. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm still in the middle of one of the things, but I'm reworking my 2 major songs that are like deeply adoptee territory, To the Dawn and Don't Let Me Go. It's been a couple of years since they came out, and while they were for specific times, like I mean, it's my music, so maybe this is like obscene of me to say, but like I find myself going back to those songs. Like past KJ helps current KJ out.
Sure.
And so I thought the hilarious bit is I was going to re-release them and call them parentheses KJ's version.
Yes,
because they were never not my version, but it's so funny to me. But so I thought about releasing a small EP with those 2 things, maybe a new song, and then like some commentary on the tracks. So just something to do that. I don't know if it'll come out, but that's definitely something
Director's cut.
I'm here for all of that. How do we make that happen? How do I force you to do that?
It's on my Spotify already.
I know I said we're not forcing people to do anything capacity-wise, but I'm forcing you to do this because I want to hear it.
You just need to take over some of my web development responsibilities.
Oh, God. Well, never mind. You're good. You don't have to release anything.
That's it. Just need a
what
little
about you,
bit
Nathan?
of help.
I know that you're busy with family stuff. You got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, this month will be crazy. I mean, I'm not gonna promise any amount of posts, but I will post a few times because there are a few things that I did want to talk about that I've been kind of saving up for this month. But yeah, I have some guests coming into town, and of course, I'm taking a trip back west for Thanksgiving. So there's going to be a lot of things going on, and of course, just keeping the kids healthy. So we'll see. we can
always the constant struggle.
Yeah,
the constant
exactly.
struggle.
But I did want to draw back to something you said previously, because we are recording this on Adoptee Remembrance Day. I did want to throw out something that I kind of found out today from actually, I always forget this, but Suicide Crisis Lifeline is 988. If you dial that, you get a free suicide crisis lifeline, and you can call it. And there are volunteers there to help out. So if there's anybody who is in a time of crisis or just needs to talk, find that number, because I didn't even know 988 was that like resource.
Just that? You don't have to call it.
Just 988.
All right.
Yep.
Like 911, but different.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's the thing. It's good to know these things. And so maybe that'll help someday for somebody, but
100%. Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that. I was going to share some of the stuff that I was doing, but now I feel like I can't follow up.
No. I brought it down. I'm sorry.
So maybe I'll talk about it right before we do go out of here. But yeah, I appreciate you sharing those things. So yeah, 988 if you are experiencing a crisis. Thank you, Nathan, for sharing that. KJ, want to hear those musical cues? What am I talking about? I don't know. We're going to go to a snack now.
To the food.
Welcome back to Time. I know.
What a choice.
Oh, I know.
What a choice you just made.
I'm literally confused.
For those of you who don't know what the heck just happened, that was Nathan rage crinkling his bag into the microphone.
It's ASMR, man.
Not when you do it like that.
It's the Janchi ASMR segment with, sorry. It is snack time. We have a non-Korean snack because I saw these and I wanted to try them. So
Classic
these
Nathan.
are a product of Taiwan. It is Caramucho hot chili stick potatoes. Then it reminded me of those old stick potatoes that I used to get in a can as a kid. And I don't
Nathan,
know.
we're not ageist on the show.
Sorry, but if anybody else remembers those, give me a shout out, because I actually used to eat those a lot, and I would dip them in ketchup like little mini French fries. So
I do remember what you're talking about. I've had those, and they're like in a blue can.
Yeah, it was a can.
Yeah.
It was funny.
I know what you're talking about.
No idea.
Okay, well, these look like it, but they're spicy with hot chili oil. So I don't know. I'm excited. To try these.
Caramucho.
Made by a company called Koikia. Koikia, I think is the name of the company. So Koikia. But I don't know.
Koikia. Let me set my mic down so I can open these boys up.
Pretty easy to open. Half the bag is empty, but that could also just be from the altitude in Colorado. So.
What?
Oh yeah. I want to say it's actually a little sweet and spicy.
All right, these are not as crunchy as I thought they were going to be. Okay, they are crunchy, but they feel soft.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah. I hate eating things so small.
They are much smaller than I would expect. Yes.
I don't like when things don't fit into a nice handful. Popcorn, nice handful. M&Ms. Nice handful.
Yeah.
What is
Pretzel
a nice
sticks,
handful?
Nice handful.
Just a little small handful.
I go in
sticks.
with two fingers, the thumb and the pointer,
Same.
into the side of the bag. I come out and I even went for a small grab. I got 4 pieces and they're all over the place. And then I feel like I have to open my mouth all sorts of weird ways in order to get it into my mouth and not crumb my pants. That's what I mean. That is not a nice handful.
I just crumb my
Okay.
pants.
And see, that's so annoying. And I mean, to be fair, you are just like tipping
You're
it.
going to town on these things.
These are
Literally
good.
did you have dinner yet, bro?
They started growing on me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Almost immediately.
Like the
I
first
mean, you
couple
attacked
was like,
them with vigor when we
I
started.
tried
they
them
grew on you like
small.
weeds.
I ate like 2 or 3 at a time when I first popped them in. And I was just getting the full experience. And yeah, now I'm just shoving them in my mouth like a waterfall. So
Another thing, if I feel like it'd be easier to eat with a spoon, it's not a nice handful.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my old school days where if I had like a fork and some ketchup would hold them together and I could then pop them in my mouth. I don't know.
I don't think I would put ketchup on these though.
No,
Dude,
I would
ranch-
not do ketchup on these.
ranch.
I was gonna say like this
Oh,
might be
ranch?
like
Yeah.
very
Ranch would be
Midwestern,
good.
but like actually,
Mm-hmm.
if these were like in not like a ton of mayo, but like if there was some mayo on this,
Bro,
that would be good. I think
I was
that would be a
literally
good-
going to say mayo.
Hmm.
That's hilarious.
Hmm.
Is that Midwestern?
Yes.
No, I was gonna say it's more Canadian.
Canadian?
What?
Yeah, French Canadian.
No, no,
They
no.
put mayonnaise on their French
You're
fries.
French Canadian.
Whoa.
I mean, I've been
Fat in
over
your
there.
general direction.
No, I like these.
All right, you said this were from Thailand?
Taiwan.
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 Wow.
My apologies.
Yeah.
They're not even close to each other.
I definitely like them.
Oh, really? I couldn't tell by the way you were shoveling them into your mouth hole.
I do not like the ingredients, but that's just because.
What?
I mean, if you look at any chip these days, the ingredients kind of scare you. There's so many things in here, including MSG,
What is MSG? Like, I've heard a lot about it, but I don't
It's
feel like
seaweed.
I don't.
monosodium glutamate. Glutamate.
Monosodium glutamate.
Yeah,
It's
just
found
it's a
naturally
salt.
in seaweed.
It's salt.
It's basically like a sea salt. And was it the 80s that it like really got crazy where like people were like, oh yeah, don't eat at Chinese restaurants. They have MSG. And that's just some
Yeah.
racist crap.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah, I
not
thought it
100%.
was.
There,
I thought
there
it was
are some
racist.
people with sensitivities to it.
Sure. But
So,
also like,
but
I don't know.
and
if
allergies.
you're like,
But for
yeah,
the most population.
if you
then,
got an
yeah.
allergy, that's fine. But if you're like, oh yeah, I eat sushi all day, but I don't like MSG. Be like, maybe rethink your position. I don't know. Maybe I'm an ignorant ass, but maybe
No.
rethink your position.
Yeah. I mean, it's the salt. And then again, salt is not particularly great for you either in large quantities. So
Oh, really?
That's
Tell that to
true.
my electrolytes, bro.
That is true.
Hey.
Tell that to my entire diet.
well, that
Says the man who
you're
wants to
drink-
get branded.
You're drinking the wrong things then.
Branded soy sauce bottles. He's also like, salt's not that good for you. But let me sell you this Janchi Show soy sauce bottle.
Yes. I have eaten my fair share of salt. I won't lie. Which actually, what is the sodium content of this? 12%. Yeah, not bad.
All right.
It's probably on the low side of chip sodiums, but and the sugar, I did taste the sugar. That's the third ingredient on there. So
Oh, really?
interesting. Yeah,
Oh.
because it was like a sweet and spicy to me. But I don't know. I'll jump into ratings. I give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's very tasty. I would have gone a little higher, but I agree with your previous statement of it being kind of small and hard to eat. Like if it was the same flavor, just bigger pieces, like the size of maybe a shrimp chip,
Like a steak
I
fry.
think steak fry, I think I would really like it a lot more. Yeah. But
Shrimp chip.
brings me
Steak
back to
fry.
those little potato chips. I should go try it with some ranch.
Yeah, I would give these a 4 out of 5. They're so annoying to eat, but the flavor is really good.
Hmm.
It's also been a while since I've had like a snacky food, so I'm just like really digging into it. It's not a sweet snacky food; it's a savory food, which is bomb. Side note: I don't know what it is about like at least like East Asia and like Southeast Asia really seems to love like heat plus sugar. I don't know like
Yeah.
like where that started from, but I'm not fully against the trend. So yeah, I think it's good. Like the flavor is, I don't know, it's not like it's hot, but I wouldn't say it's like so spicy. It'd just be like
It's not like
oh,
hot
yeah, it's
Cheetos
spicy.
hot.
Not like those wings that I
It's just like-
got in LA.
Right? Yeah, it's just like spice exists. And then you stole.
That were
Wait,
actually too
oh, you
hot for
mean-
me.
Wait, are you referring to the wings that I ate that you ordered?
Oh, right.
I feel like you ate all of Nathan's wings, and you're like, they weren't even that
Accidents.
spicy.
They were really good. Nathan, you got a
and
really
I'm
good
over there
wing.
dying. That was so funny.
Oh, that was funny. I'm gonna give them. I guess I'll give them a 4 too. They're pretty good.
You don't have to give them a 4.
I've not.
No
I've
pressure.
barely
dude.
eaten any of them. Like, I don't know if you can see into my bag. There's
Okay.
Is it
I feel
because they're annoying to eat?
kind of, and I feel like I'm just not really that hungry at the moment. Maybe because I ate 3 small Twix bars before we started the show.
Well, that's your own fault.
Oh yeah.
That was on me, which immediately followed heavy dinner. So
I like that you were just like, you know what? I don't know if Nathan's got chocolate prepared for me, so I'm gonna pregame the show with some chocolate.
bring my own chocolate.
chocolate in before because I never know.
Next month, there's some chocolate. So
Next month, some chocolate.
Yeah.
But then I'll pregame it with some vanilla ice cream. It'll be like, I don't know if he probably hadn't sent me anything vanilla. So
That's true. That's
Man,
true.
If I could send you frozen stuff, guys. Oh, I saw so
That
many
opens
Korean
up a whole
frozen.
new world.
It does. It really would. I might just
don't you dare
force
close
you
your
guys.
eyes.
I'll force you to go to your H Marts or your Asian stores to see if they have them because I think I remember telling you Pepero makes an ice cream bar.
I don't remember you telling me that, but
Yeah,
I do like the sound of that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it looks amazing. And I haven't bought it myself yet, but yeah. So, but yeah, great.
Great. Well, good snack, Nathan.
Well,
Excited for the next round of snacks.
Patrick, what are you doing this month in honor of it being an adoptee month?
Yeah, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. Doing a couple workshops I did a workshop in Portland with BioThe adoptees that I am now taking on virtual tour. So if you're interested in doing that, hit me up on Instagram.
What does
or
it
you
mean
can
to be
find the link
on
there.
virtual tour?
It means I'm just doing them virtually. I'm doing one on the 9th and one on the 27th. So doing that. I'm doing a couple engagements with Purdue University. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm also doing I'm doing the workshop too with Asian Mental Health Project. They have an adoptee empowerment circle that they've been doing monthly, which is really cool. So I'm excited to do that collaboration. And at the end of the month, I'm actually going to be in Boston reading a thing that I wrote.
Reading a thing that I wrote.
I think I can actually announce this now. I looked the email up to make sure that I could do it, but it's called Voices Unheard. It's by the Boston Post-Adoption Resources organization. Pretty excited about that. And I will have more details about that later. So I got a lot of stuff going on. Hopefully more. Pay me, hire me to come speak at your organization or your school or your company. That would be great.
Recommend him to go speak at your company or school or organization.
Yeah, that. But yeah, I didn't feel like that was an appropriate follow-up to what we talked about at the end of Before the Snack. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff, as well as running some cool episodes for Conversation Piece. So I know we don't talk about other pods on the show, but I'm just going to plug that again.
You can talk about your own
quick.
pods. That's fine. We just generally don't talk about other rival podcasts.
I feel like we might get canceled for you saying it like that.
Well, but there's so many. We have so many rivals.
That's true. We do have a lot of rivals.
Actually, I would love to.
Are they really rivals?
No, I don't. I mean, I've not met anyone, so I don't think you can be a rival with someone you've not met.
I literally just commented today on a post from J-Ron about not competing with each other.
Yeah, that too. I'm like very much like no, you for sure don't.
Oh, that's
say
hilarious.
this entirely facetiously.
That is hilarious. Oh, I have something to tell you guys off air.
Ooh,
yeah. It's not like super important, but it is kind of cool. So, anyways, if you want to get in touch with us this month, if you want to do any of those things, if you want to support us, you can do so at Janchi Show JanchiShow.com. Wait, what? If you want to support the show, you can do so at our website, JanchiShow.com. We have some cool merch up there. We have some other ways that you can support us. If you want to follow us on any of the social medias, you can do so at Janchi Show, or you can go to Facebook, Janchi Show After Party. Nathan is there holding it down, keeping the music going, keeping the party going.
It's like a dance-a-thon, and his whole team's abandoned him, but he's keeping it going.
It's like a silent disco, but there is no music, and it is just totally silent, except for Nathan.
Except there's no music, and it's also not a disco.
If you want to reach out and you have... Oh, man, there was something that you said that I was like, oh, if you want to tell us about that thing, I don't remember. But if you just want to talk to us directly, you can send us an email to janchishow@gmail.com. You can also leave us a voicemail at 972-677-8867. We always love to hear your beautiful voices, leaving us beautiful messages or non-beautiful messages. I don't care. If you are also feeling like you really love the show, we would appreciate it if you could leave us a rating or review wherever you get your podcasts. 5 stars, 5 thumbs up and not down. That would be great. I think that's it. If you want to follow me, you can do so at Patrick in the World, wherever I want to be found on the internet.
I am N Nowak on Instagram, and as you heard, Nathan Nowak on Facebook.
You can hit me up at KJ Roelke, wherever I want to be found on the internet. Also, for our YouTube listeners, hit that like and subscribe button. You know what I mean?
Like and subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe. I don't know why you would do that, but I know that there are some YouTube listeners out there.
We do have YouTube listeners, and I forget that I follow us on YouTube, which I probably shouldn't admit here, but I do see the listens. I do see the views go up, and people are still watching our old videos too, which reminds me that we have old videos.
Okay.
So we do have some visuals on YouTube. So do we have a URL?
A URL? Yeah, probably.
Our own thing?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, for
Once
sure.
we hit like 100.
Is it youtube.com/Janchi Show?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah. YouTube.com/Janchi Show.
Yeah. Perfect.
187 subscribers,
hey!
185 videos. Our featured playlist is episode 14.
Nice.
I love that.
Wow.
All right.
We should probably pay attention to that. Nah.
We'll figure it out. Once we hire an editor and we have more people on our team who can help us do all of these things. Which is all to say, we appreciate everybody out there in the community. I hope you have a wonderful November. We'll be back next week with another episode for whatever this is that we're doing here on the show. But until then, Janchi.
Hey-o!
Nathan chugging a beer.
Go find some ranch.
Meow, 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 meow.
Oh.
You gonna turn off the recording and just gonna munch on air?
Oh, sorry.